It turned out that Dr. Carey had been travelling to the Tamil Nadu region of southeast India for quite some period of time, initially out of love for the country and the people there. It had been on one of his recent visits that he had met someone who first became a friend and later a business associate. His name was Ravi Kulaman.
After I met Dr. Bernard, then I started reading and learning a lot about what is happening across the world, 50 years history of fair trade. In the month of April, after almost a 2.5 years gap, I received an email from Dr. Bernard. All of a sudden, out of the blue, he says, I am coming to India. Can we spend some time together? Why not?
Working together, they had formed an organisation which was developing fair trade links between Southampton and ethically aware producers in Pattinacherry.
I found there are already 3 fellows who are working in fair trade in Pattinacherry. So they came and they exhibited their products. So if this company can serve as a support center for all these producers, I think then our purpose is served.
Having met Ravi and formed an organisation, Dr. Carey had travelled to India with greater purpose on his trip in 2004. He was encouraged by the reaction he received to his lectures about Southampton becoming a fair trade city, and it seemed that many producers in India were looking forward to his next visit. His keenness to return to southeast India was very evident. He spoke of workers in India being exploited and his wish to find producing companies there worthy of the fair trade label. His intention was to bring samples of their products back to England to deduce whether there was a market for them.
Consumers want ever cheaper things, but at whose cost? The European community doesn't always help because their subsidies to their own farmers lead to colossal surpluses. For instance, European community is the largest sugar exporter in the world now, and that's been quite devastating really in many parts of the world. We should see ourselves as really a catalyst, if you like, helping them to learn to design things, and of course providing a lot of income, and eventually just treating people fairly, That way they'll be exploited less eventually.
It was about this time then, towards the end of 2004, that he decided that he was going to visit India again very soon. It was at this point that I felt that if I was going to get a real idea of the impact of ethical and fair trade training on workers and their communities, I would have to witness it firsthand. And when I was invited along, I jumped at the chance.
I'll change my steps and dance to a new song.
A decision had been made to travel to India before Christmas, but this was changed to early January at the last moment, and we were ultimately thankful for this. Less than 2 weeks before we left Southampton in the UK, one of the greatest ever natural disasters struck much of Asia.
When the tsunami struck on December 26, 2 villages were the most affected. One was Pattinacherry in Karaikal.
Questions of whether we should abandon the trip to Tamil Nadu in southeast India were inevitable, but soon dismissed, and we found ourselves alongside Ravi with medical provisions donated by high street pharmacies and bought with money from friends and family, amongst a scene of devastation.
Out of the 450 houses, only 150 are standing. All the 350 plus completely destroyed. And out of 1700 population, around 200 dead on the same day.
It had become clear by this time that Ravi was in charge of the operation of recovery in Pattinacherry, and as well as being involved in business, that he therefore also had a strong link with social projects in the area. It was such a humbling experience to see people in such a small community who had lost so many friends and family and had so little, smiling and welcoming us to the village and even thanking us just for being there. Their strength of community was very evident as people gathered around us to share their experience of the last few weeks.
I just asked her where she was on that Sunday. She says she was at home. She was sitting there in the home and she could hear a very big noise slowly building up. The noise was building up. Then she saw water, a big volume of water coming in. The water was simply uprooting the trees, smashing the house, and everything is being bulldozed. She could see it from the upstairs. She says all of a sudden, within a matter of an hour, 188 people died. She says I could not really understand and rationalize the loss.
I felt a real wish to help somehow, but all I could do is provide a little light relief by joining in their games and making them laugh at my total incompetence. I was also given the honour of serving the food to them. It was clear that in the short term there was little else that could be done other than what had been achieved by the group coordinated by Ravi and financed by Goal. But in the long term, Dr. Carey and Ravi Kuliman already had other plans.
I'm trying to look at linking the Fairtrade with tsunami disaster. The livelihood option is only one. Men go to the sea and bring the fish back, and the women sell the fish. On the sea, there is no continuous support. So when you have such an uncertainty in the income levels, we are looking at an alternative occupation, which will bring some money on a regular basis. So if I can identify 2, 3, 4 products, some simple products for which the women can be given a 2-day or 3-day training, we can raise some sort of support. It is going to make a very big impact in the family.
We all left Pattinacherry with a feeling of determination to help further, whilst knowing that the village's attempt to recover was going to be a very difficult one. The experience ensured that Dr. Bernard Carey's attention became firmly focused on those workplaces that Ravi was to introduce us to, which could potentially be the training ground for villagers from tsunami-affected areas. Were they already, or would they be, deemed appropriate to be trading under the Fairtrade trading banner? First, we visited a producer who made products from wood. There could be opportunities for fair trade trading training programs here. Then we visited an organisation that manufactured products from local stone. Here we were to find that problems with dust inhalation had created breathing difficulties in some workers, and this was something that was important to address before fair trade status could be awarded.
He says in this work there is no problem of inhaling any dust, but only there are other works in which it produces more powder. At the time we wear masks covering nose and mouth.
Apart from some safety provisions, other conditions of employment were considered acceptable, including the provision of a fair wage. If Dr. Carey was to accept this workshop as one which was trading under the rules of fair trade, then potentially the value of the social premium which would be raised by selling these products could be directed towards the buying of an extractor fan to allow the workers a much more healthy working environment. The next producer we visited produced a wide variety of goods, and in this workplace these included candles, incense sticks and calendars amongst others. It was here that the impact that fair trading was having on workers was finally going to be revealed firsthand. This producer already worked under fair trade ethics and was very keen to show it, as can be seen here.
Rattles, vigils, spinning taps. Rattles, vigils, spinning taps.
Whilst Dr. Carey and Ravi were speaking to the producer himself, it presented a chance to interview one of the workers to find the truth about the proclaimed benefits of fair trade trading. What were the benefits on a day-to-day basis?
What she is saying is, this is a profession.
Yes.
Here, they are learning the profession.
Right.
And earning some money for their life.
இங்கே வந்து வருஷக்கணக்கில் ஒரே இடத்துல வேலை செய்யணும்னு ஆசைப்பட்டு நாங்கள் இங்கே செய்யணும்.
Here, their boss is looking after them very well.
இல்லைங்க சார், இந்த மாதிரி ஃப்ரீடம் மற்ற கம்பெனிலாம் இருக்காதுங்க சார்.
There is no this much of freedom in other companies.
And the pay?
ஒரு நாளைக்கு
1800 சார்.
1800 per month.
நாங்கள் வேறு இடத்துக்கு குறைவாக தாங்க சார் இருக்கோம்.
Yes, less pay in other places. That's why we are working here willingly. Whenever the job is less, that times you create yourself. This way he encourages them.
And this is one that you've created yourself?
Yeah, நீங்க இத create பண்ணீங்களா?
ஆமாங்க சார்.
அது சொல்லுங்க.
But it was still unclear as to the method of trading under the Fairtrade banner that Dr. Carey was going to adopt, if indeed he was to start buying from this workplace. How was it going to work? Ravi slotted in the last piece of the jigsaw.
We are going to request that production unit to open a separate bank account in a bank, and this account will be managed by the group themselves without any control, with any interference from the owner producer or who has invested the capital. So when we receive the money from Southampton buyers, it will be in 2 or 3 components rather. One would be to pay the bill towards the invoice. Then comes the Fairtrade premium. This amount will be paid to the workers group bank account directly, not through the producer account. And third one will be the social premium. This will be like creating a common asset for a number of producers. It can be a small shopping mall, or it can be a sanitation complex.
At the end of the meeting, Dr. Carey had already made a decision that samples should be taken with a view to batch buying at a later date.
If we all thought a little bit more about the living state of our neighbours in these places, we'd all be more healthy. We wouldn't be poisoning ourselves, all these chemicals and so on. And I think we'd all be a bit happier.